Good evening. I'd like to bring the November meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Eckert? Here. Mrs. Floyd?
Here.
Mr. Evans? Here. Mrs. DiBattista?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Phelps?
Here.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Here.
Mr. Razzie? Here. Mrs. Hogger?
Here. May we have the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District, and grant to this board in their deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
I'd like to turn the agenda over to Mrs. Riley. Oh, I'm sorry. Reports from our student representatives, Matt and Abby Marola.
Glenolden School's book fair was held in the library during the week of October 20th. Students were able to purchase books during their library class. The theme was Sir Read-A-Lot. Parents were given the opportunity to visit the book fair on the evening of October 23rd. Trunk or Treat was held on October 26th. Parents decorated the trunks of the cars and gave out candy. Everyone had a wonderful time. Our annual Halloween parade was held on October 31st. Students in grades 1 through 5 dressed up and paraded outside the schoolyard. Parents came to see them.
At the Kindergarten Academy, they participated in the annual Harvest Celebration. The children put on a wonderful performance for many parents and friends who attended. Thank you to Ms. Killian. Thanks to all the families that participated in our candle fundraiser. Students that raised over $3,600 for the Kindergarten Academy. Fundraising money will be used to provide playground equipment, technology support, and special events for the Kindergarten Academy. The kindergarten students and members of the High School Environmental Club observed and explored the John Tyne Environmental Center, where they learned about different types of trees and leaves. The students completed hands-on activities with the guidance of the mentors and their teachers.
Norwood School has created an anti-bullying video. All students participated under the direction of Mr. Joe Barrett and had a great time while filming. The video can be found on YouTube. On November 6th, our middle school students had their first dance of the year. Students were asked to bring in 2 canned goods for payment. Approximately 2/3 of the middle school attended. Students had a wonderful time dancing to the music provided by our DJ, Michael Yarabini. On November 8th, Norwood Fire Company came to the school for fire prevention. Our first grade students got to see the fire engines and other emergency vehicles firsthand. They had a great time.
At Prospect Park, October was a very busy month. The 6th grade class went to the Renaissance Fair. 2nd grade went to Sugartown Strawberries Farm. The 4th grade students visited historic Pennsbury Manor in Morrisville. October was anti-bullying month, so our students were treated to assemblies. Middle school had a guest speaker, and 1st through 5th grade had the Ned Show. We finished off the month with a Halloween parade around the school, and students celebrated with parties in their classrooms.
Tinicum School welcomes a few new staff members to our family. Welcome Sarah Mills to our Title I reading room. Welcome Bernie Hines in our middle school learning support classroom. We welcome Brittany Bayliss as our new music teacher. Tinicum had a spectacular time during Halloween celebration. We had so many wonderful costumes of all shapes and sizes. We started off with our elementary parade, and while they were in their classrooms, the middle school students had their costume contest sponsored by the Student Council. Thank you to all the homeroom parents and home and school volunteers that helped to make Halloween in Tinicum extra scary.
At the high school, October 6th through 11th was the Homecoming Spirit Week. The week culminated with a pep rally and football game on Friday night and a dance on Saturday. Congratulations to the homecoming king and queen, Nick Fieo and Laura Barrett. Our German exchange students arrived on October 23rd. The German students were welcomed in the classrooms to observe classes, and on October 29th visited New York with the German students from our school. We also hosted the Physics Olympics opening meet at Interboro on the 25th, and Powder Puff was hosted at the Bucks Field on the 29th. Before I end the report, I feel that I'm obligated to speak on behalf of the students I've been elected to represent in regard to the contract dispute. It's a sad reality that the IEA and school board couldn't reach an agreement without it affecting the students of the district. It's a difficult situation for both sides, as young teachers have received few raises to combat the cost of living increases, and the district faces a $2 million pension increase next year. In this new age of education, where every district is represented by a single school, it's important that Interboro has no obstructions that limit the education of our students. I sit here now in front of members of the IEA and school board pleading that you quickly come to a resolution before students see a significant impact on their education. However, it's important to understand that this district and all the other districts in Pennsylvania are being forced to work within a broken system that limits fundings for schools. So I urge you to contact your state representatives and tell them that it's time to reform education funding. Without a comprehensive education funding reform, statewide, no district will have the funds to operate successfully. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Matt and Abby. Mrs. Riley?
Hello? Okay. Good evening. It's always a pleasure when I have the opportunity to recognize employees, dedicated employees here in the Interboro School District. And this evening, I have the pleasure of acknowledging and recognizing Mary Jane Cherubini. Mary Ann, come on up, please. Mary Jane. Up here. Has been with the district for 50 years, working in our school cafeteria. Turn around, Mary Jane, so everybody can see you. 50 years in our school cafeteria. And we appreciate and thank you for your dedication to Interboro. And, we're so glad that you're still here with us, and we hope to continue and have you here for many years of services. So I have a certificate and an apple for you. And again, we thank you on behalf of the administration and the Board of School Directors. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Johnston and Mr. Mecchiarella to recognize our student athletes that are here this evening.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to talk in this part of the evening about our student athletes. Tonight you're going to hear about their accomplishments, but I think it's important that with everything going on, we continue to recognize what our students are capable of. Tonight you're going to hear some pretty amazing things about what our students here have done. I think it's important that we recognize them for what they do both on and off the field and what they contribute to our school district. In a moment, Mr. Meck will talk about what these kids have accomplished. But on behalf of the administration and the school board and your community, I personally want to thank you student athletes for continuing to demonstrate excellence and Buck pride. I'm going to turn over to Mr. Meck now so you can hear what these students accomplished.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mr. Mecchiarella. I'm the new athletic director here at the high school. And tonight we'd like to recognize 4 teams who were Del Val champions in the fall of 2014. We'll start with both our boys and girls cross-country teams. The girls cross-country team ran to an undefeated season, finishing a perfect 7-0 and winning their second straight Del Val championship. Led by senior co-captains Callie Welsh, who had the fastest time of the year, Kelly Quang, and Demi Davis, the team has not lost a league or dual meet in the past 2 years. Joining Kelly with all Del Val League honors this year were juniors Bree O'Donnell and Kim Willis and sophomore Eden Luong, all first-year cross-country athletes. The boys cross-country team also ran to an undefeated season, finishing a perfect 8-0 and winning their second Del Val title in the past 3 years. Led by senior co-captains Jeff Ebner, Kelvin Liu, and Stephen Bignier, the Bucks had their top 7 all within a minute of each other. Joining Jeff with all Del Val League honors were seniors Christian Vasquez-Murray, juniors Shane Mathis, who had the team's fastest time, Jack Crozier, and sophomore Billy Hallinan. This is only the second time in Del Val League history that the same school has won both the boys and girls championships in the same year. The last time was also by Interboro, way back in 1996. The team also gave back to the community this season, doing a 75-minute litter pickup run in October. They visited Norwood Park, Glen Olden Park, Park Square, Whitmer Field, and the playground next to the train station in Norwood. Glen Olden and Prospect Park schools, as well as the administration building and kindergarten academy. This was reported on by Harry Chaikin in the Delco Times. The grand total collected was 28 contractor-sized bags. Congratulations to our boys and girls cross-country teams, 2014 Del Val champions. I'd be remiss in all that if I didn't. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand up? I'd be remiss, he's not standing up. Mr. Kirk McGrady, coach, please. Kirk has been coaching the team for quite some time, and he does a fabulous job. Congratulations, guys. Next is our volleyball team. This was one of the most exciting seasons for Interboro volleyball in quite some time. The team finished the season 10-7. They had many new girls join the team, and even though they hadn't really ever played volleyball, they learned quickly and really improved throughout the year. The team had several goals for this season, which they are proud to say they accomplished. One goal was to beat their two Del Val rivals, Chichester and Academy Park. Well, we are proud to say that the team not only beat Chichester 2 out of 3 matches, they also defeated Academy Park in 1 out of 3 matches. Another goal the team set was to win the Del Val, which, as you can tell, since we are here, they achieved by becoming co-Del Val champs for the 2014 season. The volleyball team worked extremely hard from the beginning, and it really showed on the court by how they came together. They will really miss their 6 graduating seniors and are already looking forward next year to build on their achievements from this past year. Congratulations to our girls volleyball team on being 2014 Del Val League champions. Guys, can you please stand? As you may notice, the girls volleyball team and now the boys soccer team will be a little thin. These athletes are at basketball practice right now, at wrestling practice, doing many things around the school. And last, and certainly not least, is our boys soccer team. The boys varsity soccer team finished the season as Del Val champs with a 15-3 record, which is the second highest win total in the history of the soccer program here at Interboro. Interboro also had the 3rd highest goal scorer in the county in Diego Lopez with his 29 goals. Additionally, junior Kyle Dutch, Kyle, please stand, was selected to be a member of the first team All-Delco squad, an honor that has not been bestowed upon an Interboro soccer player since 2009. The soccer team started off this off-season training last January and continued that hard work and dedication all the way up to the start of training camp in August. They're an amazing group of student athletes that work extremely hard on and off the field. For next season, the team returns many of their starters from this past year and look forward to building on their success from this past season. Their dedication and hard work should be commended, and they look forward to continuing to bring great pride to the Interboro community. Congratulations to our boys soccer team, 2014 Del Val champions. And guys, can you please stand? Thank you very much.
For our athletes, and I'm sure scholars, if you would like to be dismissed now. The next part of the agenda will be public comments. I'd ask that as you come to the podium, please state your name and address. And since we have certain people speaking, keep your comments to 5 minutes.
Yes, we always apologize ahead of time, so if the names are not familiar to you, understand your name. I apologize ahead of time. First up this evening would be Rachel Dickinson.
Hello. Rachel Dickinson, 707 Madison Avenue, Prospect Park. I am a senior here at Interboro High School. I turned 18 years old in October, therefore I am a registered voter. I am also employed and a taxpayer. I have a sister who is a sophomore here at the high school and a brother who is in 7th grade at Prospect Park. Like my siblings, I have spent my entire academic career in the Interboro School District. 14 years ago, I walked this very aisle and graduated from the Young Bucks preschool program. I was handed a diploma from Dr. Plattis, who was the principal at the time, and Mrs. A. Like many administrators, Dr. Plattis moved on. Mrs. A is still here. When I arrived here as a freshman, Mrs. A greeted me by name as if 10 years had not even passed. Mrs. Riley, you were the principal of the kindergarten academy when I was 6. Mrs. Floyd, you helped me get my brother off the bus safely every day at Norwood School. Mr. Evans, many grade school afternoons were spent making myself at home in your kitchen. I know I don't have to tell any of you what an outstanding group of educators we have in our schools. They not only give 110% in the classroom, but they are also fully engaged in many aspects of student life. I have shared so many life experiences with my teachers outside of the classroom. The 6th grade camping trip at Norwood took Mrs. Letty and many other teachers from their families for a week. In 7th grade, I stood with Mrs. Krogowski on a boat off the coast of Maine, being a part of whale camp, an excursion she spent countless hours of her personal time each year organizing. These are memories that I hold close to me, memories that I will never forget. My teachers can be found in the bleachers at our football games and on the sidelines at other sporting events. They make themselves available before and after school. Were not for the hours Mr. Price invested in me after school nearly every day, I most likely would not be planning to be a chemistry major when I entered college in the fall. Were not for Mr. Beckett making himself available, even after I was his student, I would never have overcame my fear of math. If not for the hours I spent with Mr. Kloss on the debate team, there is no way I would be addressing you tonight. I have had the best that Interboro has had to offer, and is it upsetting to me and all of us that it may soon change. Our teachers are eager to negotiate a new contract. They have been patient as they continue to do the job every day. Their patience is running low, and this in turn is going to have a profound effect on the students. You as board members are faced with a monumental task. The student body, along with their parents, understand this. However, the time to address this has come. You can wait no longer. To my teachers, I say some of the issues you are facing, such as rising healthcare, is a national issue, not just an Interboro issue. You may have to look past the school board and focus on the newly elected officials. To my fellow students, if you are 18, register to vote. We do have a newly elected governor who values more funding for education. Until an agreement has been reached, our teachers feel they have no choice but to pull back on all the extra time they give to the students, attention that we have greatly depended on. We need our teachers to help us. They are the ones who organize our graduation, help put out a yearbook, help complete our college applications, and chaperone our field trips and proms. Our district services nearly 4,000 students. Roughly 40% of those come from economically disadvantaged households. So yes, the task is great, but it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. Please get to the table and start the negotiation process, and don't get up until an agreement has been reached. I will graduate high school in June with some of the same students I graduated Young Bucks preschool with. We didn't spend 13 years being exceptional students you expected us to be, only to be caught in the middle of a contract dispute that threatens the glory of our senior year. Please handle this. Approach this task as if 4,000 students are depending on you, because we are. Thank you.
We can't hear you.
Well, nicely done. I have other two things I just wanted to comment on.
Still can't hear you.
I totally agree with you in terms of registering to vote as you turn 18. And secondly, you intimated in your speech that we have not been negotiating, and we have been negotiating since June. We've had 9 meetings at the table. We have another one that is scheduled for this coming year.
Well, that's good.
Get it done. Period.
Is everybody here? Next up will be Kelly Davis.
Kelly Navikas, 749 15th Avenue, Prospect Park. Good evening. My name is Kelly Navikas, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the AP classes in the high school. As a student, I know from personal experience how integral the AP teachers are for success in the AP exams for May, not to mention how helpful they are throughout the year with coursework. Yet, if work to rule were enacted, AP review sessions will be canceled and all before and after school help with our teachers will be greatly reduced. Talking to the other seniors, we're distressed over the current matter of affairs. I know, as well as multiple others, we can contribute a great deal of our success to this supplemental class time. It makes a difference between an A or B, honor roll, distinguished honor roll, or possibly none at all. It could be the difference between passing or failing the AP exam, or the difference between a 3, 4, or 5. It can be the difference between college credit or none at all. It's important to note that we are not saying the school board or the union is right or wrong. We aren't. In fact, we're extremely thankful for all of your support in our education. We're here to merely express our concern. The purpose of Work to Rule is to show the district how integral and important the teachers are in our community. I mean, just look around at the turnout for this meeting. We're here because we care. For example, Miss Claire's Saturday morning AP reviews to cover material specifically for the test, or Mr. Meck's after-school sessions. And personally, without this extra time, I know I wouldn't have done as well on the test. So here we are to say thank you. Perhaps one thing to take away from this whole experience is it's really opened the community's eyes to how important our teachers are. We hope that both the school board and the union can come to a speedy resolution, because in reality, we need you. Thank you.
Renee Colbert, 204 Trites Avenue, Norwood, PA. Hello and good evening. I'm Renee Colbert, a resident of the Norwood Borough and the senior class president here at Interboro High School. Tonight, I am here to speak to you on behalf of my fellow classmates to remind you of the effects of the Work to Rule status on the students. I'd like to bring attention to exactly what this is taking a toll on, because it's not only affecting our extracurriculars, it is affecting our everyday classes and activities as well. Our teachers will become unavailable after school hours, making it difficult for the students to make up work, take missed exams, or to get extra help if they need it. And the teachers will become unavailable to help and support us in our school community projects as well, such as our senior projects, the Foreign Language Festival, teacher chaperone dances and field trips, and even coming to support our theater projects amongst various other activities. Our multiple clubs, such as the language clubs and field trips in the school, will become very limited and practically dull without the benefits that come with our teachers volunteering their help. I do not believe it is acceptable for the 2014-2015 school year to become so despondent. We, the students, have high hopes, and we genuinely enjoy all the activities that Interboro has to offer us. As a senior, this is our last year to embrace all the great opportunities, but it seems unlikely without our teachers there with us. The Interboro school community is something we should be proud of, because we can do some amazing things if we all put our heads together. And it should not be overlooked that our achievements would not have happened without our teachers guiding us and supporting us. Most importantly, as a student who is involved in multiple activities within the school, it would be devastating to make do without our teachers, especially if they were absent at our prom and graduation. I fear that if the situation does not improve, the Interboro School District will become an unwelcoming place for both teachers and students. I fear that our wonderful school environment will become something we won't be able to take pride in. I speak for my classmates, for my class Congress members and fellow officers, and for myself when I urge you to please find a solution, a common ground, a compromise, or an agreement when it comes to the complications between the teachers' union and the school board. This is not what the Interboro School District represents, and it is not excellence and Buck pride. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Barb Frisky. I live at 1010 Madison Avenue in Prospect Park. I am a parent to 2 children at Prospect Park School, a 5th grader and a 7th grader. I am also very involved in the home and school at Prospect Park. We are now in the 3rd month of school, and our teachers still do not have a contract. And from the looks of it, it doesn't seem the district is making any strides to come to an agreement with the teachers' union. Sadly, this has not been the first time that our teachers have been working without an updated contract. During the 2011-2012 school year, the teachers worked without a contract. It was eventually settled with the teachers agreeing to pay freeze, plus they had a complete overhaul of their medical benefits, and I believe an increase in employee contributions. I would assume these changes saved the district money. I think there is some incorrect information in the community that our teachers do not pay towards their health benefits, but to the contrary, they do. The current contract expired this past summer, and since that time, it doesn't seem the district has made settling the contract a priority. According to statements at previous board meetings, the district has asked for an additional 3-year salary freeze. In addition, the district canceled several of the negotiation meetings with the teachers' union. I also believe the teaching assistants union has faced similar obstacles in reaching an agreement. How is an agreement and resolution going to come about if the district won't even meet with the union representatives? Besides the financial aspects of the contract, I am aware that the teacher's contract also includes elements to help protect the quality of education, such as class size, need for teaching assistants, and also sports clubs and school sports and clubs. Is the district looking to eliminate these as well? I can't imagine any of us going to our jobs and being told you're now going to bring home less pay and a change in your work conditions, and not to the better. I wonder how long many of you would continue working at that job. This is what's going to happen here in the Interboro School District. Even though I honestly can only speak about the teachers at Prospect Park School and the Kindergarten Academy, since they are the only schools that I've had to deal with, if the teachers at the other schools have an ounce of the dedication I see on a daily basis at Prospect Park School, which I'm sure they do, the district will be losing if these teachers leave. I understand the board's position on not wanting to raise taxes, especially the way the economy is. But I don't understand how our tax dollars can be spent on things like new golf cart and new uniforms for the custodians with the district paying the dry cleaning bill. I would rather my tax dollars directly go to my children's education. We have terrific teachers here in Interboro, and I would hate to see the teachers leave. Interboro needs to continue to be a place teachers want to stay for the long term and not just a few years. Thank you.
I want to make a few comments. You mentioned...
Say louder.
I'll speak as loud as I can. You mentioned supplemental contracts. Supplemental contracts are contracts that we have with our teachers, and they cover activities. And we pay the teachers to monitor and implement these programs. That is, we spend about $500,000 a year on supplemental contracts. We have no intention of eliminating them. Apparent with this job action, those activities that are covered under the supplemental contract will be fulfilled. There are activities that are not contracted with the supplemental that are in question. So yes, we do have supplementals, and the teachers do cover those activities in that manner. As I mentioned last month, we have been at the bargaining table with our teachers since January. We've had 9 meetings. There it goes, it's better. We've had 9 meetings. We have another one scheduled for Monday. For our aides, this has been a voluntary let's say, hiatus from the traditional negotiating table while they spoke and conversed with Mrs. Riley and Mr. Criscola over their contract. We have not backed away from the table from any of our unions. We want these contracts settled as soon as possible. So I want to reassure the community members that that is our intention.
Teresa Long.
Teresa Long, 151 Seminole Avenue, Norwood. I was going to start by saying that no one up there realized what work to rule meant, but the students so eloquently put it, I don't have to go over that. So I'd like to tell you about a few things that happen outside 7:30 to 3 at the high school and 8:30 to 3:30 in the neighborhood schools for no pay, not supplementals, and also sometimes outside of the months of September to June. Let me start by issuing an apology to the members of the teachers union that I missed, specifically those at Norwood, because I know I'm leaving a lot out. My sons are currently a senior in college and a junior here at Interboro. Thank yous, Mrs. Salerno, for bringing my son in at 7 a.m. for weeks to help him get his SAT score high enough to get him accepted to Westchester University. To Mr. Webb for tutoring my son in math in the evenings and helping him through Study Island this summer. To Mr. Mills, now principal, for bringing one son in at 7 a.m. to help him with 9th grade science. To Mr. Meyer and Mr. Coffey for staying well after the team left while my son was getting stitched up by the team doctor after a football game last week. Thank you to Mrs. Fanning for her support to my son in times of change. We all know change causes stress. Thanks to Mr. Perry for driving 2.5 hours from his summer job to attend the funeral of my son's grandmother, my mother-in-law, as well as the many other things he does. Thanks to Mr. DiNicola for being a presence in both my sons' lives and writing the most awesome recommendation letter to Westchester University in the summer of 2010. Thanks to Mr. Lennox for setting an example for our boys that every parent wants for our children. He's the man, and I hope every one of you up there knows that, the respect that that man brings to this school. Last but certainly not least, thanks to Mr. Radea for his weekly tutoring sessions with my son all throughout the summer. These are my top 10 list. I'm sure many parents could compile their own top 10, and different names would be there. Money's tight for everyone. When I moved to Norwood 27 years ago, all the way from Prospect Park, my cable bill was $8 a month. We can all laugh at that now. To quote JFK, children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. Please talk so we don't lose this great staff here at Interboro. Go Bucks, beat Ridley.
Charles Monteith.
Charles Monteith, 546 Jansen Avenue. What can I say? Wow, these kids blew my mind. If they can see what's going on here, I hope this board can see it, and you guys can get these guys a contract as soon as possible. I'd hate to lose one of them. They're excellent teachers. But unfortunately, that's not why I'm here tonight. I'm here to talk to you about the 15-mile-an-hour flashing lights at Tinicum Elementary School. Has we heard anything back on that? Anybody want to respond?
We can address that, Mrs. Holger?
Yes.
That'll be addressed in a committee report. You'll get a report on that when the GOB committee report is given.
Okay, so until then, what do you suggest for the small children? Because I got a little girl up here that almost got ran over last year.
I will give that report when the time comes.
Okay. Well, the township has done, the only thing they've done for is apply for a grant. And I keep hearing $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 to get this project done. I've reached out to PennDOT, and from Brad Randolph, safety officer, PennDOT for Transportation District 6. He estimated the cost at somewhere around $21,000. So between what the township put up and what you guys are willing to put up, you can get this project done. This has been going on since last February. That's ridiculous. No wonder you can't get a contract done. You can't even get a light up.
Mr. Monteith,
Good
that
job.
is Mr. Just to clarify, that light at Tinicum School, it is the township's responsibility. We have nothing to do with it. We can't make them do anything. Yes, we are. And what we have done is that we added additional crossing guard at Tinicum School.
Are you responsible for them children from the time they leave that school till they get to my front door?
Yes,
Then it's on your time.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Kevin Karch.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Karch, and I'm currently a resident at 339 Iroquois Street in Leicester, and a senior at Interboro High School. Today, I stand before you not as a representative of the school board or the teachers' union, but rather as a representative of the students of Interboro School District. To begin, I would like to read something that many people may or may not be familiar with, the Interboro School District mission statement. It states, Interboro School District provides a challenging and supportive learning environment for all students to succeed academically, socially, and emotionally while becoming college and career-ready citizens within a global community. This is the foundation of the entire district, and this is why my colleagues and I have decided to come forth today. We are here because we feel that conflict between the board and the union may soon compromise the integrity of the school's mission, and we feel that students may become unintended victims of this dispute. Now I'd like to focus on one particular section of the mission statement. In it, it states that Interboro School District provides a challenging and supportive learning environment for all students. This is what we feel is in danger. We, as students, understand that the teachers have been working under an expired contract, but it has become very clear that this has not stopped them from providing us with the best education they can deliver. This has not affected our educational experience thus far. However, rumblings of union work to rule have made their way to students, and the effects of such a move are much further reaching than anyone may realize. It is these prospective effects and fear of the future that have called us all here. Over the past 13 years of my schooling career, I have seen nothing but excellence from teachers, going above and beyond what they have to do every single day. The teachers go above and beyond, not for personal gain, but because it's what they enjoy. They do it to help out. They do it to provide us with the perfect schooling experience. There are countless clubs, sports, and activities offered here at Interboro, and a lot of which are off-the-clock programs that teachers pour their time into. Without these, we feel that not only will our overall experience here at Interboro be diminished, but also this discrepancy will have lasting academic effects as well, a topic that has been touched on by Ms. Navickas. As I look around me, I do not see one student or teacher, for that matter, that would not be affected by this dispute. Whether it means losing attendance at performances or games, or whether it means that Guitar Club can no longer meet after school, there are no winners. The teachers have been thrown into a tough situation. They feel that they must do something that breaks their hearts. In short, we feel that this matter has reached a tipping point. We have come out in an attempt to show that the actions, or rather inactions, of the parties have produced effects that now reach beyond the combatants. Once it has started to affect our experience as students, we believe that time has come to sit down and settle the matter and take into account the true roles of our teachers while doing so. Work to rule is a heavy-handed action that can not only be settled by talking, but rather should be settled for the sake of students and teachers alike. If there are no questions for myself, I shall thank you for your time and your attention.
Jeff Ebner.
Hello, I am Jeffrey Ebner. I am a resident at 739 10th Avenue, Prospect Park. So far tonight, you've heard from my classmates, Kevin Karch, Kelly Navikas, Renee Colbert, Matt Cleaver, and Rachel Dickinson. And soon enough, you will hear from Melissa Evans. They've thoroughly spoken on how us students have and will become impacted if the contract is not decided upon soon. At this time, I would like to speak on how our teachers have given us extreme support in athletics and academics outside of their contract day, the 7:30 to 3 o'clock day. Last year, 9 members of our Interboro Future Business Leaders of America chapter qualified for the state conference. We needed $2,200 to get there, and we had 7 days to do it. It seemed hopeless. Until we created a fundraising website, and the community and faculty at Interboro got us to Hershey. Mr. Eckler was an extreme contributor, reeling in nearly $600 to a school organization that he had no advisor tied to. The IEA gave us the donation that tipped us over the edge. Without our teachers being so generous, Interboro would not have been represented. When Miss Claire was in charge of speech and debate team, she would pay out of pocket for our team's registration fee. No one asked her to. We would have willingly paid team dues, but she did it because she is an incredible person who wanted to encourage academic extracurriculars. Mr. McGrady, on special occasion, will send the cross-country and track teams on a distance run, and then tell us to head towards Rita's. Mr. McGrady treats nearly 30 to 40 members a season to free Rita's menu items. He does this to acquire team enthusiasm and support an atmosphere of thriving athletes. Lastly, our teachers take on organizing parts of the graduation ceremony and the preparation that leads to it. Currently, they will not partake in the same positions as they did last year, and they are upset over this. They view us with utmost respect, and they want to be part of our graduation ceremony preparation, but due to the circumstances, they no longer will. The teachers in the Interboro School District adamantly support their students well beyond the contract day. They deserve a contract, and they deserved a solid and definitive contract. Without one, sure, the school day will go unaffected. But what truly makes Interboro, things like long-winded dialogues after school with favorite teachers, and teachers' readiness to volunteer for school events will no longer exist. I support my teachers. I hope you will too. Thank you.
Alyssa Evans.
Hello, my name is Lissa Evans. I live at 111 Leon Ave in Norwood. As a senior, I'm currently involved in Select Choir Jazz Band, and I'm the field commander of this year's marching band. With my extensive involvement in every musically centric program that Interboro has to offer, it has come to my attention just how much we do as musicians will be affected and what is at risk due to the enactment of the work to rule policy. Because our music directors spend so much of their personal time attempting to expand our experience as performers, there's quite a list of activities that we will not be able to attend as musicians. Please keep in mind that these are performances for which our teachers volunteer. They are not required to organize or to be at these events in any way at all. In our community alone, band and choir members of every Interboro school will not have the opportunities to participate in the middle school jazz band, the solo and small ensemble concert, the Southern Delaware County Regional Band, and other community performances, such as holiday tree lightings and school board meetings. At a higher, more elite level are the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association district, state, and regional conferences. Students Kelly Navikas and Jane Carnett have had the privilege of performing in these elite ensembles after working through rigorous auditions. However, this year, they and several others may not have a chance at even making it to these auditions, as their directors must act as judges and volunteers at the conferences in order for their students to participate. The only reason the district choral auditions are still a possibility for Interboro students is because Ms. Canals herself is organizing and hosting the entire event this year at Immaculata University. As for our in-school 10th period performance, concert choir, and concert band classes, we are still unsure of the definity of our winter and spring concerts. This is how we are assessed as performers, and our directors take time to conduct these events, these evening concerts, every year by dedicating even more of their personal time to student musicians. This will directly impact our music education standards and will leave our performance classes without performance. If this disagreement between the teachers' union and the school board persists long enough, we will not be able to perform at the National Honor Society induction or the senior award ceremony. We will not be able to play Pomp and Circumstance as seniors walk down the aisle at this year's graduation. For these reasons, among many others, I and several other performing students hope to see the contract disagreement settled as quickly as humanly possible, with the knowledge in mind that our Interboro teachers have transcended the average obligations that come in with a teaching career. We hope to see a fair and just agreement achieved so that every student will be able to continue to grow and thrive in our community that has so much to offer. Thank you.
Colleen Hendrick. Is Colleen here? Okay, somebody put your name on the list then. Only if you want to.
Hello, my name is Colleen Hendrick. I live at 924 9th Avenue, Prospect Park, PA. I just want to say that I think my teachers deserve a contract because they mean the world to me. I'm sorry, but they really helped me last year when I was going through some really bad stuff. And they mean the world to me, and when I come to class, they're what makes me smiling and keeps my day going. Without them, without teachers like Mr. Price, Herr Donovan, Miss Pullen, Miss Ladislaw, all the people that mean the world to me, without them being there for my graduation, that would be the worst thing ever. So please get them a contract.
Margie Evans.
Margie Evans, Norwood, Pennsylvania. Boy, when I arrived tonight and saw my name was going to have to be at the bottom of the list, I knew it was going to be a really tough act to follow because these students are just really amazing. Okay, so what I have prepared is not going to match up, but it's just one little thing I wanted to discuss. It's just a shame. It's a shame that a work rule is set to begin in a little over a week. I believe that neither side of the bargaining table wishes to see this happen. I do, however, understand its purpose. I had a discussion about this topic last evening with an acquaintance. The question came up, when was the last time anyone thanked their doctor? You know how it is. You go to your doctor when you're sick, you get a prescription, you get better, you go about your business. But when you stop to think about it, wouldn't it be nice if your doctor heard back from you, heard that you're feeling better, and that you're grateful for the care he or she gave to you? I bet it would make the doctor feel appreciated. I think the same question can be posed when it comes to our school district teachers, aides, and staff. Often, they don't hear back from us. These groups perform their duties, students grow in knowledge, and everyone moves on to the next level. I bet our teachers, aides, and staff would be happy to hear the words, "Thank you." I bet our teachers, aides, and staff would feel appreciated if we acknowledged that they not only do what is required of them by contract, but they go above and beyond. And unless you really take the time to realize the magnitude of what is encompassed in the words above and beyond, you won't understand what we could soon lose. If I attempt to speak about all the aboves and beyonds, I feel that I wouldn't even begin to touch the surface of that includes in a day in the life of a teacher, aide, or staff. So I'll just focus on a few of the above and beyond. In addition to coordinating the Helping Hands, which is a project whereby Norwood teachers contribute their own money to purchase gift cards, food, and clothing for needy students in the district. All teachers spend their personal money for students who cannot afford to pay for class trips, sports equipment, musical instruments, repairs. Teachers also instinctively, without reservation or forethought, do the following. They volunteer before school hours, after school hours, on their own family's time, and on their weekends. The before and after school hours for teachers and students is compared, I think, to that precious time a parent spends riding in the car with their child, that one-on-one time when, for some reason, a child feels comfortable to just relax and talk. We, as parents, and teachers, as mentors, counselors, and friends, have all experienced those precious and rare opportunities. Some of the most memorable and thought-provoking moments are shared, and often monumental improvements in a child's life happen in those off hours. For some students, the classroom is the equivalent of a second home. I fear the potential loss of above and beyond will mean nowhere to just go and talk for some who need that the most. Please, let's show our appreciation by acknowledging the above and beyond. Let's arrive at an amicable contract resolution expeditiously. Thank you.
Kim Tui. I can't read the last name, it begins with a T. Kim, last name T. From Norwood? No? Okay. Then Jen Mathis? No Jen Mathis either? Okay, that's it then.
Thank you. And thank you to all our speakers this evening. Can we move to motion 5.1, please, Mrs. Krajewski?
Motion that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on October 15, 2014 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Our solicitors report. Mrs. Serini, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Hogger. This month, our firm has been engaging in contract review, and we've been advising on residency personnel and special education issues.
Thank you. We move to motion 7.1, please.
Motion that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending October 31, 2014 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments on 7.1? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Ms. Krajewski?
Motion that fund disbursements in the amount of $5,667,591.84 be approved.
Second.
It's been seconded, moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Comment? Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, I'd like to point out that out of that total amount that was just given, $123,734.52 is being spent for the month for cyber charter schools. We all hear the advertisements for Agora and other charter schools advertise free tuition. The tuition is not free. The public schools throughout the state are paying the tuitions. I'll speak further on my legislative report about what we need to do. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on 7.2? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 7.3, please.
Motion that the attached budget transfers for the fiscal year 2014-2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Any correspondence?
No, Mrs. Holger.
Thank you. Committee reports, I'll give the Finance Committee. Finance Committee met on November 3rd, 2014. On the agenda was bond refinancing. What we are working on and have two motions later on, I think it's motion 16 and 17, is the refinancing of our bond obligation. This will save the district anywhere from $450,000 to $600,000 in the next several years. It's like a remortgaging. So we have proceeded with that in an effort to save money. We also talked about the tax timeline. The state imposes a timeline on us if we are going to comply with the index, and we also got an index update. The index is the percentage that the state imposes on each school district that we cannot raise taxes above that percentage. If we do, we would have to go out for an exception, which this board does not intend to do. But we were informed by our business manager, and also we had our normal financial updates for October. Let's move on to Mr. Eckert and the GBO meeting.
Thank you. The GBO met immediately following the Finance Committee. There were several items discussed that evening, some of them on the agenda this evening. The first item was replacement of district-owned buses. As mentioned in the last meeting, the district owns 3 buses. All of our other buses are leased. The 3 buses that we own are very old. One of them did break down in the beginning of the school year and is deemed unrepairable. With that, the other 2 buses are just as old, so to be proactive, we are going to replace the 3 buses. We will own them. These buses are used as spares. They have a limited amount of mileage, and that is the reason why we're going to own the 3 buses, again, as backups. On a side note, because we hear about money and things like this, just so everybody knows, and there was some other issues about door-to-door service, Interboro leases their buses. That guarantees the fact that every school bus in this district is no older than 3 years. Your students, your children are riding on school buses that are 3 years older or new. I mean, you guys get the picture, except for the spare buses, which are limited mileage. So yes, we do take action to take care of our students. One of the other items discussed was allocation of committed fund balance. We're going to transfer $40,000 from 2 projects that were passed in June. Those the money now is going to be moved to updating stage lighting and stage sound. And the other half of that will be moved to add some more security cameras around the high school. There was an overview of the high school alternative education program by Mr. Sean Conte. It was very educational. This was brought up due to some past board meetings where some of the board members wanted a little bit more information on the program, and it was very informative. There was also a second reading of policies, which will be on the agenda this evening. And lastly, there was a discussion on the Tinicum flashing lights. Again, Tinicum is applying for a grant for those lights. We as the board, as a whole here, all agree 100% that we would love to put the lights in Tinicum. Unfortunately, we do not have the authority to go down there and put lights on any street. That has to be done by the state. They have to authorize it. We do not have the power. Neither does Tinicum Township. Earlier in the year, this school district did pass a resolution to pay for half of those lights. Yes, we did know that those lights were going to cost us about $24,000. We agreed to pay $12,000. Tinicum agreed to pay the other $12,000. The only thing that's holding this project up is the fact that we do not have the authorization to put the lights up. Yes, we care. We would love to see the lights down there, but we just can't do it until PennDOT allows us to do it. And if they did allow us to do it, those lights would have been put down there in 2007 when this was brought up to the board by, again, during one of the committee meetings back then. So this has been an ongoing issue. It's not something that just popped up this year. In the meantime, the school district has added another crossing guard to that particular street to help out with those problems down there with the cars. So no, the board is not having a blind eye to the issue down there. We are trying to move on that. We just do not have the authority. With that concluded the meeting. There will be no GBO meeting in December due to reorganization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Mrs. Floyd, the legislative update.
Yes, we met on November 12th, 7:30 in the morning at the IU. And most of the discussion was about Pennsylvania school funding. The lawsuit that's been filed against the state, Basic Education Commission hearing, which was held yesterday and today in Philadelphia, campaign for fair education funding, and several other things that all reflect on the funding problem. Basically, the Campaign for Fair Education Funding is a coalition of over 40 organizations, education organizations, advocacy, faith-based charter schools through funding from the William Penn Foundation are committed to a 2-year process of developing a fair funding proposal. Some of the reasons we need fair funding, I explained one of them when we did the disbursement, how much money we're spending for charter school reimbursement. And it's coming straight out of our budget. Pennsylvania has not had a consistently applied basic education funding formula since 1993-94. Pennsylvania is one of only 3 states without a funding formula. Over the past 20 years, 30 factors have been used at various times to distribute educational funding. Only 7 states provide a smaller share of education funding than Pennsylvania's 34.5%. Districts are required to develop an approved budget before knowing their state funding allowance. What I'm going to, once again, as I have been every month for the last couple of years, is to encourage people to direct their frustration and upsetment to the right parties. Funding is hurting us, as you heard one of the students or one of the speakers say. Funding is hurting us, and until that gets straightened out, our hands are tied, and we have to deal with what we collect in taxes and the limited amount of funds that we get from the state. Please, we have to become advocates. We have to get involved. We have to direct this to our legislators. And if anybody needs to know who they have to contact, I'll be more than glad to give them the information. With that said, please direct your anger to the right people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Evans.
Yes. The first meeting for the Delaware County Community College was held on November 12th after the Board Appreciation Dinner. Dr. Parker spoke largely about the dual enrollment program, how enrollment for the college is down slightly this year, how costs are up slightly, but the cost to the district actually dropped. The expected contribution from the district actually dropped by about $629 for the 2014-2015 school year. While there, we also talked further about Drexel faculty teaching on campus at Delaware County Community College and their program of transfer check for students who choose to enroll there for their first 2 years of college experience. They actually have a database that will tell you up front where your credits will transfer to and what colleges already accept them and things like that. So it's no longer essentially a crapshoot whether or not your credits will transfer. I'm still very impressed by the expansion of the facility and the opportunity that the community college provides as a resource for students going into secondary education, especially those who may not be sure what they want to major in or what four-year college they want to attend. It's an amazing opportunity to clean up core credits for your English, science, math, history courses that everybody needs at any liberal arts institution. So just keep it in mind as a viable resource and a viable alternative to some of the four-year colleges in the area. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Mr. Harris, please.
Good evening. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors met on November 5th. It was approved and submitted a grant for proposed for Early Head Start. Also was approved a contract with Chester Upland School District for the DCI to approve a Title I remedial service. And it was also Delaware County Transportation Company to provide transportation for health and sciences students. For more information, you can go on to www.dciu.org for all your information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Can we move on to motion number 10, please, Mrs. Krajewski? Oh, by the way, if the student representatives, if you would like to be dismissed, thank you very much.
Motion that the following personnel actions be approved as listed, beginning on page 2, ending on page 5.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members? Comment. Mrs. Floyd?
Yes, I will be voting on yes to everything except for 10.1.
Thank you, so noted.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So, Ms. Caldwell, you'll note that dissent on that portion, please. Thank you. We're on page 6 for motion 11, Ms. Krajewski.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments about motion 11? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 12, please.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Pupil Services and Special Education be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 13, please.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Facilities be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9.9-0. Motion 14, please.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Technology be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0.
Motion number 15,
please.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Finance be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members for motion 15? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 16, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the attached resolution number 16 regarding the district's intention to incur debt for the refinancing of the general obligation bonds, Series B of 2010.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from board members? We have to have a roll call vote on this motion. Mrs. Caldwell, please.
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie?
Yes.
Mrs. Hauger?
Yes. Motion passes. Motion 17, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the attached parameter resolution number 17 for the issuance of general obligation bonds, Series 2015, which is refinancing the general obligation bonds, Series B of 2010.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I just want to make a comment that this parameters motion resolution is to protect the district in case interest rates went, or let's say any place where we didn't want them to go. So it is the initial commitment that we have to make as a district to move forward on this bond, but this protects us from any unforeseen circumstances. Any other questions or comments? We need another roll call, please. Mrs. Caldwell?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista? Yes. Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie? Yes. Mrs. Hogger?
Yes. Motion 18, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the second readings of the following policies in the categories of pupils, finance, and operations as listed beginning on page 7, ending on page 8.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Any old business? New business. Mrs. Riley.
Thank you, Mrs. Hogger. Earlier this year, Governor Corbett signed Act 9 of 2014, which allows school districts to utilize audio recording equipment as well as video surveillance on school buses and school vehicles. This evening, the board approved Policy 810.2, Transportation Video Audio Recording, which approves the use of audio-video surveillance on our buses and vehicles. All parents will be receiving notification in the mail that the district will be utilizing surveillance for safety and security purposes. The policy is available online for parents to view. If any parents or anyone in the community has questions about that, please feel free to call my office. They will be mailed out. On behalf of the administrative team, I would like to recognize Mary Ann Saladini. If you noticed on the personnel, she is retiring after 26 years of experience, 26 years in the district. So I would like to wish her well on behalf of the administrative team and thank her for her years of service. This is a reminder, yes. This is a reminder to all parents in the Kindergarten Academy and the community school that the students are off next week for conferences and that the high school is still in session. So just a reminder, I hope everyone has a conference scheduled. If you need a conference for parents and haven't scheduled them, please call the school and they will work with you to schedule a time for you to meet with your child's teacher. Also, next week, it's the annual football game between Interboro and Ridley. This year it is here in Interboro, and we're very excited about that. It starts at 10:30. Please check out the website for information. And on behalf of the administrative team, I would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the game. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Riley. Any board members have any comments?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd.
Yes, I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to Mary Ann Saladini for her years of service. Mary Ann and I go back many, many years. In fact, for those of you that aren't aware, Mary Ann was a Norwood resident that was a board member, and I was an employee at the time, and it's ironic how we switched our positions. She's now the employee, and I'm the board member. If you talk to anybody in this district, I think you would find that she has been an asset that we're truly going to miss. Anyone that went to her with any technology concerns or reports or anything like that, she was more than willing to help out. And sometimes she did things that wasn't part of her job description, but she still did it because of her loyalty and dedication to this district. I wish her well, and I hope she gets to spend all the time she can with her new grandson. Mary Ann, good luck and best wishes. I would also like to piggyback on Mrs. Riley's statement about the Ridley Interboro game. This has been going on for many, many years. And the one thing that we didn't mention, and I hope it's advertised and a lot of you realize, parking. Don't let that deter you from coming to the game. We do have a shuttle service. We've had it throughout the whole football season. You merely park at the high school parking lot, and the buses will bring you over to the ticket booth and walk in, and when you want to leave, there will be a bus out there to bring you back to the parking lot. So with that said, this has been going on for many years. In fact, I was one of the first drivers that did the shuttle. So please keep this in mind, not just for Thanksgiving, especially for Thanksgiving, but also for future football games. Thank you. Any other comments? Oh, I also want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and go Bucks.
Mrs. Hogger.
Yes, Mr. Ecker.
I'd just like to take the time to commend the student speakers this evening. They presented their views very professionally, well thought out. So you guys should be very proud of yourself.
Mr. Eckert, I agree with you. I've been continually impressed with our students, especially our high school students, as they have come to us over the years to express their positions, and well done. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Comment?
Yes, Mr. Evans?
I would like to echo both your sympathies and sentiments. The students are essentially the customers. We have teachers that work for us, the school district, the school board, to deliver the education to the end user, and essentially these students are our most important stakeholder because they are the end users, they are the customers. We have to do our best as a board and negotiating committee to resolve the contract issues for all the bargaining units because of how it may impact their student life. And as one young man put it, it's our mission, it's in our mission statement to provide the best education and the best educational experience we can. And I think if we don't get this resolved either before or shortly after a work to rule edict goes into effect, we may lose some programs that won't come back. There's a lot of activities that go on throughout the school day, the school week, and the school year that without the teachers' support and dedication to them, they'll disappear and maybe won't ever come back. And that we don't want that to happen. So I promise, at least for myself and the other board members, we will work to negotiate and finalize an amicable agreement with our bargaining units. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members? On Monday, December 1st, 2014, a board reorganization meeting will be held at 6 p.m. in the Kindergarten Academy multi-purpose room. The next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the Administration Building on Monday, December 15th, 2014 at 6:30. And the next regular monthly public meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the auditorium of the Interboro High School on Wednesday, December 17, 2014, at 7 p.m. I wish all of our families a happy Thanksgiving. Go Bucks. Meeting adjourned.